Okay.
We have one extra.
Okay. Why don't we do a quick round of introductions and then we'll review our minutes. So I am J.D. Miller, I'm the chairman of the board.
Linda Hayes, Director.
Janice LeBlanc, board member.
Leslie James, board member.
Lucille Sorrentino, board member.
Henry Ye, board member.
Gordon Price, Vice Chair.
Janice Desmond, board member.
Thank you, everyone. We may still have people coming in, and as I said, we want to try to make this a relatively tight meeting timeframe for our business. So I'd like everyone to take a quick look at minutes so we can.
Thanks to Janice, good minutes.
We never saw it.
No, you didn't, because I was fielding to I couldn't find them, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff.
Keep counting, I know. Yeah, you want to, sure.
Do you have that? Do you have it?
I do.
Okay.
Hi.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Well, actually, I can make a few they're mostly, because I didn't read them before I sent them out. A couple of things I might
So you have
change.
some edits?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I need to just speak them, it would be Disability Commission, Recreation Commission, and Historical Commission. So that was in, under Director's Report, Senior Center Project, second paragraph.
So wait a minute, you're going back to January.
Is it-
I'm looking at February.
Oh, we don't have,
I have
The Director's
January.
Report.
I have January.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's February right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, well, she must have stapled them in the wrong way. Do you not have them in?
I do.
In the back.
Just read it back.
Oh. On the second page.
Recreation Commission, is that what you're saying?
Yes, commission. And I can make the corrections too, so it's fine. But they're all commissions, not
Okay.
committees, it's just a formality. And then on number 3, on the second page, under program updates,
Yep.
fourth paragraph, it's SNAP. Abatements and credits of SNAP and,
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Snap.
SNAP.
and the circuit breaker tax credit for seniors. So they're two different things.
Okay.
I think that might be my diction, so.
If that's all, I'll renew my motion
Okay.
to accept the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Why don't we go to Director Report?
All right, here we go.
Now we'll look at this.
Happy Valentine's.
Happy
Day.
Valentine's,
Thanks for all
everybody.
being here and holiday cheer. I think it's a heart. So I'll just start off, really, I condensed everything as best I could too. JD and I did do the last seniorities program for SCTV that we did was on January 11th, and it was with Debbie Raymond, who's facilitating the Job Seekers Networking Group. And I mention it because actually I believe I also included a handout.
Yeah.
Or a flyer, I should say. And in Jenny's report, it's mentioned that it restarted January 23rd. And because we'd done some different marketing and reaching out, Debbie had in particular gone to the Quincy Employment Resource Center that's there, and they had over 40 people show up to the library for that first one. And in fact, we really can't handle 40 people if they continue.
It's
And
actually-
actually,
That is probably too big of a group.
yeah, that was a big group, and now it was again
20.
yesterday, and there were, there were 30 anyway. So, we spent some money on marketing. In fact, I just printed flyers, and we almost don't need them at this point. So we'll see, but, it certainly underscores the need, which is great. And she was great. I think it was a good program. I don't know if anyone saw her. Tech Time, I just will mention, continues because that's one of our nice intergenerational programs. And we just had the monthly one yesterday, but the last couple of months have had 5 to 8 pairings of students with seniors for phones or iPads. Actually, phones seems to be a little more popular, but they are wonderful, and we really can't say enough about them. Seniors are
Do you have
appreciative.
enough students?
We
Okay, good.
have had enough
I know
students.
they're always scrambling every,
Well,
Other
and to
Wednesday
their
or
credit,
whatever,
you know,
once a
they're
month.
checking with me. If I have the right signups, we always figure it'll come out in the wash. We have plenty of signups, some cancel, then we have walk-ins, so
Yeah,
it
right.
all
Right.
sort of works out.
right.
We are planning, and I believe the date is going to work for the annual dinner and game night with the students and, you know, and whomever. I mean, hopefully people will join us, some that work with them for the computers and then others, but it's a fun night and it's our 4th year. I actually think we're gonna shake it up a little and maybe get CP's Pizza in here with his truck to do the brick oven stuff that he does, so. Okay, parking lot. Patrick Kearney did come on Friday the 25th for a meet and greet, and there were like 8 people that came to meet with him and sit, which was great. We had to have dueling activities between him in his scheduled time, and we have an exercise class at the same time, so we do use the wall and do the best we can with setting up different configurations. But I will mention that that was one of those times that everybody had to sort of be cooperative. And we have had a very growing exercise class on Monday and Friday mornings at 9:30, which is great, but it's gone from 3 or 4 people to 10 or 12. So anyway, that's on that side. There is, I think I mentioned it in my last report actually, but the legislative breakfast, but they encourage us to schedule these at least once a year, and this is the time to do it between January and March. So, but nicely enough, Duxbury offered to host a regional legislative breakfast, so it's at the Duxbury Senior Center on March 1st. And we're invited, I mean, anyone is welcome to come, we can sign up, I will send over the numbers if anyone's interested. I've just posted flyers that missed our newsletter for January, of course. But Patrick is there, I'm hoping Joan will come from Scituate, but other reps and Senator O'Connor as well. So it's a great idea to make it regional, I think, and have everybody hearing the same thing. But they want to make sure we thank them for their support of our needs financially, but also express any concerns we might have or reinforce any requests we might have of them as well. We did start a new thing, a new concept on the last 3rd Tuesday of the month in January. We did a soup and sandwich cafe lunch, Super Tuesday, so we're doing it again next Tuesday. You know, it was in the newsletter, but it's something new that people probably weren't quite sure what it was. But luckily, we have this wonderful volunteer in the kitchen, as well as the staff and other volunteers who are helping to either make soup, make some sandwiches, not a sit-down, not really even a sign-up. So if you show up at 1 o'clock, there's no guarantee there'll be food left, but we did have food left in January. We were selling it off, because we made plenty. But it was a nice thing, and just the idea that you could be here for Mahjong, for instance, or, they were here, and they ate. Anyway, but you could, you know, grab your sandwich or sit down and eat and continue to play. It was great. So hopefully it sticks, and we'll do it at least monthly. Joe DeVito's program here on January 23rd, he is the town assessor. It was great, he had 22 people, which actually for that kind of a program, which we've tried in the past and not really had a response, it was great. And I think in addition to just trying to make people more aware of some of the available tax credits, benefits, reductions, abatements, also some changes. So with our last town meeting, or special town meeting, they had instituted a couple of better improvements to eligibility or certain guidelines that either increased the eligibility or reduced some of the income guidelines, et cetera. So we wanted to make sure people were aware of that. In addition, they really did corner him now. He was, you know, he was here and couldn't get away, but about valuing their properties and questions about that. And, you know, it was a good discourse, and I think it was worthwhile. He was happy. People, I think, got the answers they wanted, and he
Sure.
has a nice manner.
Know
so.
how that assessment process
I think
works.
since then, he may have seen more traffic into the assessor's office, which is good. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
I do have, I will say, and not altogether as a result of that, but of course that was part of it, the tax work-off program. So really up to 27 applicants, and I have nowhere near that many available positions. So, and I'm working on it, and I was a little late getting to some of it, so it's in the works, and I'm sure I'll find, you know, if not that many, close enough. But Joe has said, we might need to cap it at 25. Especially, the good news is, it's been asked and now answered that we can't, pre-going to the Board of Selectmen for approval, which we do have to do. The town administrator has said we can raise the hourly rate for the tax
Good.
work-off to $12, which
Good.
is the new minimum wage,
Right.
which is great.
Right.
But then it's now, so that means it's either a $1,200 credit or fewer hours.
Right.
And Joe's okay with the $1,200 credit, still minus the small deductions that do come out, but that does have to go to the Board of Selectmen for approval according to the bylaws we found, so it's pending. We had a steering committee, age-friendly steering committee in January, but we're doing it again this Tuesday, hopefully having enough people coming for that. So we are trying to do it monthly while we continue to try to kick this off. We are starting a new support group, which nicely enough was in Wicked Local.
Yes.
It's good.
I saw it.
So a lot of people know that. I made the front of the senior center look way too good, we decided though. Anyway, that is going to start monthly. It was suggested, and nicely enough, a facilitator who's been doing it in 1 or 2 other towns has agreed to do it with us. So, easily we have 8 or 10 or 12 people already interested, and of course with some publicity there could be more, so we're happy to do that. I did just start the 4th group for the 4-week memory training, which again, we're trying to cycle through this year, thanks to a grant from the Scituate Education Foundation. So it's my 4th group. Hopefully I'll be doing it 3 more times through June, at least, maybe more. Which does bring the value of the training for each individual. I just thought it was interesting, to $20 for a 4-week workshop, which I think it's a good value. Lucille took it.
That was great.
If anybody else wants to try it, I think it's worthwhile, and it's been enjoyable, and we could possibly fund another year of it for $1,500, so I'm not sure, and I'm not sure where I can go for that funding, but that's what we could do. Nordic walking continues to be very popular, and many are consistently walking twice a week. I think once or twice, we do have the use when needed of the recreation gymnasium, so not quite ideal for the way the poles work, but still it's better than not going, and otherwise it's been a good winter, so they've been outside up there on that property, nicely enough. We are planning to participate in the St. Patrick's Day Parade again as a float. The truck, I think, is available to us again, and the entertainment, and, we just need the committee. So I'd like to meet next Wednesday for those interested in coming back on the committee or joining the committee, because they had so much fun last year, and they did get to ride on the float. And it wasn't hairy at all. It was great.
Well.
Of course, I did get off halfway through. Anyway, I
Well,
think that,
did you keep your green wig?
do you have the green wig?
Actually, because I had a hat over it, so
Okay.
it didn't blow away.
But you have it.
You still have it?
I still have it. If I'm gonna be on the float, I'll wear
So we
it.
might need more. So anyway, next Wednesday, the 20th at 3 o'clock is when I've scheduled a meeting for anyone interested in helping with that project, so I think we should do it again. Senior Center project, we're going to hear more about, obviously, tonight. Joel is here, and Steve as well, Steve Kirby. So what I listed was what went on in January, really. We did meet with the Recreation Commission on the 16th. We didn't get their sort of official written support at the time. They were a little concerned about where the Recreation Department would go if they were displaced during construction, and wanted to sort of hold their enthusiastic support for when they knew more, but otherwise they were positive about the proposal. And the last Public Building Commission meeting was on January 29th, where Joel had presented the numbers and sort of outlined the project and what each of the costs were for that. Since then, as you're well aware, the 31st was then the joint Board of Selectmen meeting, previous Board of Selectmen meeting, where they voiced some concern about A, going to town meeting in April, and B, whether or not it was the right direction we were going given the cost. So that will continue tonight, I guess. Also, I did meet with the Capital Planning Committee, and they were not in favor of the costs as presented. And so they had more questions and really wanted to put that vote or that approval off. So that's what happened at that meeting. And then Steve and Joel actually on their own met with the Historical Commission on the 31st, the same night we were at the safety complex, and that meeting went well, and they were supportive, and they were willing to start their review, which they actually did do the following week in a walkthrough. So that's pending, but in process. So those are good news points. Moving to transportation, numbers are up a bit. Kathy is wonderful, to say the least, and she really is working on, you might notice the number here, which she's keeping track of our cancellations, because I'll just say, as a dispatcher coordinator, it's just mind-boggling sometimes, the time spent on the phone, making the arrangements, and then either having them canceled, whether it's a day, an hour ahead of time, or sometimes not at all. And, we do have some policy about that, but still, it is hard to enforce, and it's hard to know when actually, what are we going to do? Cut the cord. But it is at least a number we can start to quantify. But she serviced 64 client riders with those 529 rides that we actually did provide.
Yeah, look at that, 145 canceled
Yeah,
rides
yeah.
in January.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that number.
20% of her work got canceled.
Yeah. And, we're
Was there
working.
any common?
Weather.
Like weather, cold, it was pretty cold.
No.
No, nothing?
No. It's, I mean, some people, sure, they
Yeah,
could be sick,
but
but
it wasn't like a lot-
it's
a
not
lot
so
of
much
them on
that.
one day.
It's just canceling. Don't want to go.
Don't wanna
Don't
go
need
through
to go.
that, I understand.
Change. I mean, certainly there are times that schedules get changed. That's okay. That's what you expect with us.
But that's a big
Um,
number.
Yeah. And I won't dive into it, but, we are looking at making a few changes I've mentioned before in terms of medical out of town and trying to tighten the budget a little bit on that, maybe not use the contracted service, Social Community Action Council. I mean, they're great, it works out great, but they're expensive, and Frank would maybe like us to save some of that money and do it ourselves. So we're going to see if we can, partly because we do feel maybe we are pushing the envelope with the budget, and even with 2020, if we maintain sort of the current status with our driver hours, then we're a little short, because GAFTA does cover the transportation coordinator's budget, salary, the driver's salaries, repairs, maintenance, services, gas. So we need to maybe pull in a little bit, or hope to get a little more money, which I have asked for, but I'm not sure he has it. Okay. And outreach, so Jenny's numbers, it's January for us, so these are for January, so 107 individuals getting attention this year from her, or this month, I'm sorry, last month. She did, in fact, co-host, we had an emergency sort of preparation, I'm gonna stop. 107 people, she did go to the Housing Authority, and they had a separate event for emergency management, which I thought was great. And I talked a little bit already about the job seekers group that she is spending a lot of time with. And then in terms of our activities, everything is really, I think, going well for, again, a mild winter so far, which we're happy about. And some new programs and some existing routine programs. I will mention on the very back, the volunteer hours are noted. JD had asked last time about the Shine Counselor and how many hours, how many people. So he was here for 17 hours in January, which mostly equates to 17 people. I didn't end up looking enough for the 18, 19, but sometimes he helps people on his own. And December had been 14 hours. Okay.
I think a lot of times he helps people.
Yeah, he did. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have any other, well, we're going to adjourn our meeting shortly, but do we have any other comments, questions from the board here on our minute review, or our meeting? I beg your pardon? We were gonna, I'm simply gonna adjourn this meeting, and we're gonna reopen the new BOS meeting.
I don't know, I guess I put it there, but
okay.
it is a question, but I put it again down there. Oh.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second the motion.
Second, very good. So now we want to turn our time and attention over to Board of Selectmen, Joel.